Hi, my name's Nick Jarvis, and welcome to LightMinds. Now, most people who want to lose weight do so in order to get into great shape. They want to have plenty of energy and vitality. In general, they want to be healthy. We also know that people trying to lose weight are looking to feel more confident, capable, respected, accepted, and overall contented and relaxed. So it's not just the physical elements that are important to people. It's also the mental well-being that comes alongside it. But here's the thing. Most people don't find it easy to lose weight. And if they manage to lose the weight, they find it very difficult to keep it off, right? Now, the NHS in the UK says that, and I quote, obesity is generally caused by eating too much and moving too little. Makes sense. The NHS then, and this is on one of their websites, breaks it down and says it's because of a number of specific things. It says, for example, it's poor diet, eating too much processed or fast foods, drinking too much alcohol, eating a lot, eating larger portions than people need, drinking too many sugary drinks, comfort eating, those kind of things. It also talks about lack of physical activity, due to sedentary jobs, and over-reliance on cars, and people now using TVs and the internet much more for relaxation. They do mention a couple of other things like genetics and medical reasons, but they explain that actually those two things are very rare in terms of impact on obesity. But are they really the causes of obesity, people being overweight? Or are they just the symptoms of our inability to behave in a way that we would like to? See, when I talk to people about losing weight, most of them tell me that they actually want to do the things that the NHS suggests. They want to move more, they want to eat better, but they just struggle to do those things. Now, at first, they talk about being confused, about knowing what to do, for example. They talk about there being so many ways, so many experts out there telling them a vast array of things that they should be doing. There's tons of books, there's audibles, articles, blogs, podcasts, websites, all giving messages, but many of those messages are quite different. So in effect, quite a few people find that confusing. Then, of course, in all of our lives, there's other people. Now, some people will support you, but many others don't support you when you're looking to change. They want you to stay just as they are. They can feel uncomfortable when you go about changing because they actually see it reflecting on them. When you change what you're doing, you impact on their own comfort zones. What about your partner and your family? You trying to follow a different regime than they're following, a different eating plan to theirs can make it very difficult for you. It can become very stressful for you as well. So losing weight appears to be hard, but should it be? Do we really want to slavishly follow a restrictive diet with the added pressure that comes along with that? That's what really tends to make it very stressful for people. And a lot of people then feel down on themselves. So although people then say, well, actually, it's not what the NHS says, it's these things that stop me doing what the NHS says, they're all external factors. And are they really the cause behind why we don't do what we really want to do? Or is there something else that lies at the heart of the thing stopping us doing what we want to do? Could it be how you're thinking from one moment to moment that actually leads you to confusion, distractions, to be in conflict in certain moments, to doubt yourself, to make poor decisions, to lose your willpower and motivation, to struggle, and feel down about that, have a sense of overwhelm? Could it be something to do with that? So in the moment, each moment to moment, you struggle to make the decisions that you want to make, to eat the way you want to eat, and to take exercise in the way you want. Now, perhaps if you had greater clarity, confidence, belief in yourself, and you felt more comfortable, would you be able to make different choices in the moment? Could that in turn lead to different behaviors and consequently different results? Now, I can hear you saying, Nick, I think you're talking about mindset. And that's exactly what I am talking about. You see, our mindset drives everything that we do and therefore determines the way that we are, including the shape that we're in and our general health and well-being. Now, some of you might have already tried out some mindset tools, for example, hypnotherapy or emotional freedom therapy, which is often more known as tapping, or stepped into things like counseling or CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. You might have even gone into the field that I spent many, many years in myself, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Now, all of these things are great. And I've studied in all of them, and I recommend all of those areas. I even recommend meal replacements, hence why I'm a distributor of Herbal Life programs and products. But I've been looking in this field now for nearly 40 years. I've trained in all of those techniques because to me, it is, all these tools are useful, but it is about mindset. But I still remain frustrated with the number of people who not only struggle to achieve results, but even more importantly, when they did achieve them, didn't maintain them. So I continued to look, and I've been looking, and a number of years ago, I came across a different approach. Now, at the time, it had nothing. I was not looking for it from a weight loss point of view. I'm an executive coach. I've done various things around that field, and it was in that, it was around behavior change that I was looking at it. But then it got me thinking, what if this actually could be used to help people to lose weight, get into great shape, and sustain that? So let's take a look at this. Now, what I want you to imagine is that you and all of us were born with the ability to fuel ourselves in the best way possible, not just to survive in life, but to thrive. If so, if that is true and that is possible, what would it look like? What would it mean to you? Well, think about this. We appear to have an innate ability to walk and talk. We didn't go to walking and talking school. Do you remember that? We just did it. Something came from within us. Now, sure, people repeated words to us. People might hold us up as we tried to learn to walk, but we didn't go to school to do that. There was something there. And all parents looking at their children go, when is my child going to walk? As they see other children getting up and walk. Well, I'll tell you when the child's ready. So where does that come from? You can't tell a young baby of 9 months old, get up and walk. They're not interested. Something triggers in it for them. Take it a bit further. Think about what goes into walking. Think about all the biomechanics of the movement of walking. You might want to even just get up and wander around and think about what it takes to move. It's quite a phenomenal thing. Now, if you had to think about all of those things that you've got to do, how you moved each part, you wouldn't be able to walk. You'd be overwhelmed by all the information. So let's go to another level. Think about riding a bike. Probably you were taught by your parents. Did they give you a whole load of teaching points, lessons on it? Or did they take you to the park one day, hold you or put those stabilizers on, hold you as you ran along, and then they pushed you and off you went and you cycled? And you just did it. I can recall how I learned to swim. We lived in Bahrain at the time. I was probably about 3 or 4 years of age. And I was in Bahrain, and my cousins came out to visit us. And we went to the swimming pool one day, and my elder cousin, Bryony, didn't have a ring, one of those rings that you put around kids. And so my dad took my ring off me and said, I've got to give it to Bryony because she can't swim. And I said, yeah, but it's mine. And he said, you can swim. And from then onwards, I swam. How was that? Think about driving a car. Now, the vast majority of us had lessons. That includes most men as well, although they think they're born actually to drive. But actually, there's a truth in that, not just men, women as well, that when you think about driving, you go on your lessons with your driving instructor, and your parents probably in between the lessons. And the driving instructor explained how to change gears, how to use the indicators, how to use the mirrors, those kind of things. But what your driving instructor didn't tell you is how to judge the distance from one car to the next, one of the cars in front of you, for example. There's no way they could explain that. When I took the driving test, they said that they actually put depending on the speed you were going at, they actually put how long it would take you to brake. You had to learn those for the test, but there's no way you used that. You thought about that. You just had a sense. When you're turning a corner, you have a spatial awareness to turn the corner. What about putting the pressure on the accelerator and the brake and taking it off and on? Do you remember your driving instructor giving you really detailed instructions about how to do that? What about the synchronicity required to change the clutch? Put your foot on the clutch and change the gear by putting your foot on the clutch and changing the accelerator. Where does that all come from? Mark Twain really sums this up best when he said, if we learn to walk and talk the way we learn to read and write, everyone would limp and stutter. Think about it. So if that's the case, doesn't it make sense that we have this innate ability to move through the world? We would also have the ability to know what to eat, when to eat, how to eat, and when to stop eating. And actually, while I'm on this point, doesn't it also make sense that although we'll all follow the same principles of walking and talking, we don't actually walk and talk the same way? We follow the general principles, but we have our own style to it. So isn't it likely that's the same thing we'll do with fueling ourselves? We'll follow the general principles of eating, but actually we'll do it slightly differently. It's not one thing that fits all of us. We have to find our own way. Now, you might be thinking, well, if this is the case, then why aren't we all eating as we should and in great shape? I agree with you. That would seem logical. But the answer is also pretty simple why we don't. Humans have the ability to override that innate intelligence, our innate capacity to do these things, because we developed the idea that we know best, or actually before that, other people knew best. So that explains why we do so much illogical harm to ourselves, whereas other animals don't do that. That could be just smoking or drugs or whatever, but we do an awful lot of harm to ourselves. None of that makes sense with our innate ability flowing through us. So we can override it. How does that happen? Through our conditioning. From the day we were born, we interact with our external environment. And through well-meaning adults, we're taught how the world works, who we are or who we should be in the world, how it's best to survive. Don Miguel Ruiz, in his book, The Four Agreements, calls this domestication. So you could say, in short, it's our parents' fault. And to an extent, that, of course, is true. But you also got to remember that they were doing the best they could based upon what they knew, i.e. what they were conditioned to do. But the beauty about it is that our conditioning was learned and therefore can be unlearned. In other words, at any time, we can tap into our innate capacity for health and well-being, including how to best eat and move. Now, unfortunately, many of the current methods of changing our conditioning, some of which I've referred to before, while helping you make some changes, rarely provide you with the ways to achieve lasting, successful change. Why is this? Well, one way of explaining it is to use the analogy of an iceberg. Now, the top 10% of the iceberg is the bit above the waterline. So you see roughly 10% of it. 90% is below the waterline. That's the much bigger part we can't see. Now, that's the bit that's really essential. See, the bit above the waterline, the bit we can see, our behaviors, our skill sets, our beliefs. These aren't the things that are controlling what we do. They're not the things controlling our mindset. Those things are on neurology. That's below the waterline. In short, you could say we're trying to break up an iceberg by taking a pickaxe to the surface. We're not going to get very far. And that's the challenge most of us face. What we need is a way to change that works below the waterline. Now, that's where LightMinds comes in. See, the purpose of LightMinds is to help you to awaken to who you truly are. You're before this conditioning. You're not your conditioning. And then to see through the misunderstandings that limit your ability to change. And to understand what's going for you, i.e., you've got this innate capacity to learn, develop, and grow, so that you can eat and move perfectly and do so in such a way that the byproduct is you get into great shape. So how does LightMinds work? Well, it consists of 30 lessons in the form of videos, short little videos. They're less than 10 minutes long. Now, there are 30 of them. So if you want, you can do them in 30 days. You don't have to, but they're very short, and I strongly advise people to try and do that. But as I said, you don't have to, because you immerse yourself in it. And as you immerse yourself in it, you really get to think about it. The trainings are designed to help calm your mind. What I was talking about before about in the moment making decisions, and often because we're stressed, we don't make good decisions. So when your mind calms down, you can embrace a new, lighter way of thinking and discover what really works for you. Accompanying the videos is a workbook that has lessons in it for every day. We call these the thoughts for the day. And you can use these to ponder the lesson, what's coming up for you in the lesson, and see what patterns emerge. And this will help deepen your understanding. So what do you need to do? Well, very simple. Just go to the website, www.lightminds.life. Click on the link and it'll take you there. And then just read through, there's more on that website and join the program. You'll then be directed to the learning platform where you sign in and you just get underway. There's a video that explains how to do it and you just crack on. Now, by going through the program, many participants have been able to overcome their struggles with weight loss and the feelings they have of being a failure, of not being successful at it. They recognize that they don't have to slavishly follow a rigid plan and instead go on a journey of exploration to find their way, their unique way. They lose the confusion, the frustration, and for many people, the stress of trying to get into great shape. And in its place comes a more confident mindset, where you might feel you become empowered and motivated to make the lasting change. And you enjoy the journey towards your results. In short, people embrace a calmer, lighter way of thinking that enables them to make positive decisions from moment to moment. And they end up liking what they see in the mirror. Now, that just leaves me to say that it would be great to have you on board. And all you need to do is follow the link to the lightminds.life website. Now, if you're still not sure, if you're not sure and you want more information, then of course you can browse the other videos here. Because what I've done is I put snippets more about the principles behind the LightMinds program. And that might help you as well to just deepen your understanding. The difference in the program is it's put together as a sequence to help things fall into place for you. But these videos will also help you gain more information and clarify things for you. So it'd be great to have you on board, whichever way it goes. All the best. Thanks.